Welcome back to the Professional Lovers Channel. I'm Al.
And I'm Patty, and we
We
are
the
the Professional Lovers,
Lovers.
here with another recap of Married at First Sight. Probably going to be a little short tonight.
Yeah.
Because really, two themes were prevalent through the entire show. But before we get started, for any of you who are new subscribers, we've been married 28 years. We enjoy talking about relationship issues that all couples tend to go through, whether you are seriously dating, engaged, newlyweds, long time married like us, still same issues that you deal with. You just know how to deal with them better, hopefully, by the time you hit 28 years.
Hopefully.
But we just like to help facilitate other couples' relationships, and we use Married at First Sight as a tool through which to do that, because we're all fans.
Yeah.
Not necessarily fans of the process, as in the way they do it,
True.
but fans of relationships and fans of working to create strong relationships.
Exactly. Navigating from getting to know you to getting to love you.
Right.
It's different. Yeah.
I like that.
You like that?
I like that.
Okay.
So anyway, now we can start. And tonight, all the couples were on their last retreat together.
2 weeks before decision day.
Right. And communication was the main problem that was evident.
For those who have problems. And I mean,
communication. Even those who don't have.
Right. No, I was going to say that communication is usually the element that either creates a problem or allows a problem to perpetuate, or lack of communication can allow a problem to snowball out of control. So communication is critical under all circumstances. But communication is the topic this week.
And I want to start. Usually we go kind of in order of how the couples are presented in the show, but because communication is kind of the key, I wanted to start with Brett and Ryan tonight.
Okay.
Because Ryan said something very interesting. So the scenario is he and Brett and another couple or somebody else was outside at the fire, and they're talking about sleeping. Johnny and Bao. Yeah. And they're talking about sleeping arrangements.
Right.
And Ryan says, "Oh, well, I don't have a problem with sleeping in the same room." And she's like, "What?"
Really? I mean, the gears locked up right then and there.
And she's like, no. Yeah. Why not all of a sudden? Why do you all of a sudden not have a problem? Now, that's not
what we do.
Yeah. I mean, she didn't say that then, but when they talked about it later, she's like, that threw me off, because you've been very comfortable not sleeping in the same room at our apartment. Why all of a sudden now? But in that little moment, he said, and I had to write it down, me and my notes. He said that he cares more about actions than words. He cares about actions more than words. And let me just say, I'm going to throw this out there. You could get mad. That's kind of a typical male thing. Men aren't generally talkers.
True.
Men don't want to have conversations about stuff, especially if it's serious.
Right. We look for a resolution. We look for the answer.
Yeah, they don't want to get into details about feelings and all of that. And that's, why we got to go all like that. You see how Johnny's at level 1 communication now. Let's keep everything lighthearted. Let's keep everything, let's not talk about anything that's going to make me vulnerable, make me think, make me, reflect and assess myself or us, or I don't want to hear it. Let's just, okay. Now, would you say that that's a typical male attitude?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. We're not communicators.
And so Ryan has said, I am not a communicator. I don't talk.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but you have, and that's okay. I understand what he said, but you have to talk. You have to talk. You can't. I mean, even when you're meeting somebody, that's how you get to know each other. That's how you even get to the second sentence.
Yeah, but if my
actions
show you that I want to get to know you, can't you read that?
What are we, primates or something? I mean, we got to talk.
No. My actions show you. Can't you tell by my actions? Can't you tell, since I am not affectionate and I don't converse, that I really don't want to be with you? Can't you tell that? Why do I have to say it?
I can tell by your lips that this ain't happening, because we ain't communicating.
It was so funny when she said, when he asked her, and she said, well, for instance, I've heard that, you've told other people
that we were going to have a conversation.
Right, about how you're feeling. But then I don't get that conversation. Well, you can't tell.
You can't tell
by the way I act.
This is how I converse.
That, because actions are more important than words. And you should be able to read my actions and know how I'm feeling.
Yeah, I'm a mind reader.
Okay. Yeah. That is, if it sounded ridiculous with us just saying that, it's ridiculous.
Imagine being in a relationship, or imagine being in close proximity with someone that you're trying to have a relationship with, and you're supposed to read their mind about how they feel about certain things.
Or you're supposed to correctly interpret their actions.
That.
And know what it is they want you to know based on your own interpretation of their actions. Okay, so obviously he knew that was not, right? Because when he was talking the next day in the group, saying that, in my mind, I told Dr. Pepper that I was going to put forth more effort. And so when I put forth more effort by saying, let's stay in the room together tonight, she just shut it down. How does she know that was more effort?
Yeah, really. I mean,
how would she know that?
As far as I'm concerned, even from a man's point of view, just looking at this, it looked like a front. I mean, yeah, we're going to stay in the same room just to be like everybody else.
And that's how she took it.
Yeah.
Don't be fronting now. You spent the whole last 6 weeks basically
elsewhere,
staying in another room. So let's not front now. Yeah. We're not going to do that. Okay. So when he got called on that, though, by somebody else, Zach, who said,
he gets called by everybody.
What's different about the apartment and not staying in the same room, and here and not staying in the same room? Crickets.
Ooh.
Nothing he could say. Which is exactly what she said.
Yeah.
When they talked about it. No difference.
Yeah, you can't, and you can't turn on and off what it is you feel or want or anticipate or desire in a relationship. You can't want it now, don't want it now, and I don't understand some people sometimes, and Ryan is one of them. I definitely don't understand him, especially when he talks about wanting to try harder.
Yeah, what does that actually look like?
I mean, okay, they went to the gun range. If anything, okay, yeah, she's not allowed.
She's not into guns. Doesn't like loud noises.
But educate her. This is your environment. This is your environment. This is what you do. even
And
if
can
it's
I?
not a, well, I'm just going to say, even if it's not about shooting a gun, but educate her on giving her some enlightenment as to what you do in this environment. She's sitting in the cart with somebody else's husband because
He's not into it either.
yeah, I mean, and how do you have a relationship if you don't communicate?
You can't.
Bottom line.
You can't.
What were
you have to use words. I was just going to say, for someone who was in his environment, he didn't do really good. Maybe it's just what they chose to show on camera, that he never hit that little disc.
Yeah, well, first off, it's moving. First and second
but
thing,
he's like, but I do this all the time.
Yeah, but that's like going bowling and getting a alley bowling ball if you got your own.
Oh, you mean because he didn't have his own gun? Maybe that
Possibly.
was okay.
Yeah. I mean, all guns are different. And, weight. All of that kind of stuff.
I'm just saying.
I mean, I'm not a gun aficionado, but yeah, there are differences.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway.
And who knows? He might have been nervous. He was trying to show off his actions. Yeah.
This is my environment. I do this all the time. Don't say stuff like that if you ain't doing good. I'm just saying. Hey. Anyway, so they, talk about it, and he realized, again, because she, as in Brett, said, you tell me to call you on stuff, call you out on stuff, and I call you out on stuff, and I get an attitude.
Yeah, and you shut down.
And she made a comment that I thought was really kind of profound, and that he feels honesty is negative. Mm-hmm. He feels honesty is negative.
And I understand the statement, but I also understand the side where a person who may not necessarily be the most secure individual, when a person is called out and being told honestly, what it is that they're doing or what's liked or disliked. In most cases, it might not be liked, or somehow they can improve upon. It's looked upon as being a negative. And unfortunately, if you worked on it, it would become a positive. And that's all that someone can be saying genuinely, but it's taken in a situation where you don't like me, or you're
it's a personal attack.
Yeah, it's an attack on who I am. And I mean, if you're in a relationship, you're both trying to better each other, right?
Right. So in our book, we've always got to bring this up, Becoming a Professional Lover. Our week 25 tip says, listen to each other. Not talk, listen. And
listen.
It says you and your spouse should work together to create an environment that promotes listening. Yeah. An environment that promotes listening. What does that mean? The listener should not be so quick to react to displays of frustration or anger from the spouse. Realize that it's usually a deeper unmet need that's driving the action. Rather than jumping to defend yourself or provoking more outbursts, ask questions and repeat the answers to make sure you're clear about what your spouse is saying. As the talker, starting with you always is not the best way to express your need. A person who feels attacked will always throw up defenses, which only block one's desire to listen. Talk about how a situation makes you feel and take the focus off of your spouse, which helps to keep the defenses down.
Because no one can deny your feelings
about
a situation.
Right.
But you can't tell somebody, you made me feel, or you make me. It's not their responsibility to make you feel anyway. The way you feel is the way you feel. And it can be justified to feel that way. But that's yours. And nobody can deny you the opportunity to feel a certain way. And so by doing so, expressing that, maybe it can allow a person to pause and realize that how they deliver a message, has you feeling a certain way. So maybe I should change my delivery on how I'm, getting a point across so that it can be received in a better fashion.
And I think that kind of leads us into Mirla and Gil. What Mirla does well is she receives his criticisms. Yeah. One, because she knows how she is.
Right.
And two, because she wants to stay married to him.
I really do believe.
And she likes to know, where she can improve.
And I think she accepts what he says as a matter of...
She accepts his honesty.
Right. Where she knows that his honesty is only being that way so that she can improve herself.
Now, what I would say and did say about Gil is that I feel he could be a little bit more tactful in how he says what he says. Now, I like Gil.
Yeah.
And I like his honesty. But for instance, calling someone a brat versus it looks like bratty behavior to me. Or remember, if you're going to use statements about how you feel, okay, when I see behavior that mimics, brattiness, or it makes me, it doesn't make me feel good. Okay. Yeah. Something like that, right? But do you really need to use the word brat? That's another thing.
Well, again, you don't call somebody a name.
You don't name call.
You can indicate what their actions are. At times you act bratty. It's not saying that you're a brat.
Yeah.
But there's a difference.
There's a difference.
Because behavior is something that you do. It's not something that you are.
At the same time, if you're trying to promote an environment that enhances listening to each other and you don't want to attack the other person, then you wouldn't say you act like a brat, okay, or your actions are bratty. Either one is a little harsh.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is Gil could benefit from choosing different words.
And who knows? He may have led up to that, saying, your behavior is this and that and that and that and that. You seem a little bratty and, you're a brat. But he, built it up to that, and the camera, for camera's sake, caught him saying, you're a brat. But to Marilla's defense, she accepts it well.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah.
Because I think, really, that she has turned a complete 180. And she wants no more than these next 2 weeks to be over so that they can live their lives, and he can really make her, he can contribute to her continued happiness in dealing with him as her husband, her brunch husband, and everything else that a husband is supposed to be.
So what helps to create a listening environment is week 22 says frequent words of praise keep happiness and joy alive. And that is making sure that you affirm your spouse when your spouse is getting it right, when they're doing things the way that contribute to your happiness, and you let him or her know frequently, not every once in a while, because anybody who hears criticism, this was Bao's issue with Johnny, anybody who hears criticism more than they hear affirmation, you are breaking the relationship down.
Because you're breaking the person
You're
down.
breaking the person down, and that, and either that or saying nothing, which is why Brett has broken.
Yeah.
And she said, I broke.
Because she's getting nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Okay, so affirmation. And men need affirmation as well.
True.
It's not just women. We think that because women are more prone to conversation and words and details, and women like to hear affirmations about their looks or their dress or their whatever, but men need that too. And they look at that as you giving respect to them. Men really need respect, and words of affirmation in ways that show them that respect is very helpful. Yeah. All right. So the elephant in the room, Michaela and Zach, they gave me a headache tonight. Can I just say that? And there are two reasons. One reason is they appear to both say things outside of the camera and then say different things in front of the camera. They both seem to do that.
Yeah, because they refer to conversations that they both had at whatever time prior to being on camera, and somehow things even sound contradicting when they express it. And then they try to,
Then they talk at each other.
Yeah, well. And then they start goading each other.
Yeah, I call it baiting.
Yeah.
They bait each other with their words and what they say, and then they react to the reactions of the bait as though the reaction was just out of the blue. And the flip-flopping is exhausting.
Well,
and that's where, to me, you said that you felt that Zach doesn't say what he's means. Actually feeling or meaning.
Yeah, his words do not express, in my opinion, really. His turmoil that he goes through and what he wants to express does not come through in his words. And I don't believe that. I believe he's even in a worse situation than Ryan, where Ryan just doesn't express it because he doesn't want to hurt her feelings, Brett's feelings. I think with Zach, he tries to couch things so he doesn't get the reaction that makes him pensive and just uncomfortable. Because he doesn't like verbose activity. He just doesn't like it, and he's encountered it before. For whatever the reason is, I really think that at times she does it just to give him that reaction. Like when they were on the little couch or outside, and suddenly she jumps up, talking about how, he doesn't feel that he's ready to be married. He was ready to be married, but he wasn't ready to be married to Michaela. And
that was an interesting statement, because how would you know?
You don't know. That's the whole point of the show.
Married at first sight. It could have been Pam. It could have been Teresa. It could have been Sarah. But to say, I was not ready for marriage through this process with Michaela, whatever her last name is. You only know that now because of what you've gone through. Yeah. Exactly. So that made no sense. Yeah. Okay. But I thought a good example of what you're describing as him not really using the best words to describe how he feels is when he was talking about divorcing. Now, they had a conversation where they had agreed to divorce. And then he said, and then after we divorce, we can see where our relationship goes or where it is. And she's like, what? What are you talking about?
If you divorce, you've ended the relationship.
Exactly. So what are you talking about? Yeah. We can still see where it is. I'm still going to be the same me. Well, what you brought out was what he may really have been trying to say was
the fact that there were no ties. There was no responsibility in how
or
the
expectation.
Pressure. Right.
That's
the pressure
the word you used.
And the expectation of where we need to end up. Whereas if there's no official ties, we still relate, we can date, we can be relaxed, and we can give ourselves the time to get to know each other. And, and I believe that's what he was trying to say.
But that's not what came out.
But that's not what he said.
And with what came out, any person would react, as in, what's
what's
the point? I'm still gonna be me.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, so what's that gonna do? So
let's just finish it now. Go.
And then her penchant for
no, just go
reacting. And then trying to walk the reaction back by making him do the exact opposite of what she just told him to do.
Sometimes you just don't play games with people.
That's game playing, people. Yeah. When they got into the room and she's talking about, what he's feeling, how he's feeling about now and after they played games, whatever, and he's still not feeling great. And she's telling him, okay, well, then you can just go. And he's like, no, look, we rode together. No, leave. Bye. And he's like, I'm not going to leave you. Bye. I don't need you. I don't need you to take me home. I can get a ride. Now, she just said before that.
Because they rewound it.
Talking about not getting a ride. And, okay, I'll ride with you. Okay, I misunderstood you. I'll ride. And then we flip over to, bye. I don't need you. Bye. Here, let me call my sister. Bye. Okay, no, you can go. Yeah. Okay, so then he's like, okay, then, I'll go. Why are you going to go? It's late. We're tired. Get back in the bed. Just sleep. And then you could go in the morning. No. Why? I'm going to go now. No. Just, what?
Yeah. Now, there was somebody in our comments that said something to the effect that y'all just don't like Michaela. Michaela needs some
Mr.
therapy.
McPherson, I have to say.
But no, didn't be calling folks out.
Well, no, it's just we say their names. Their names are on the comments. Okay. Anyway, I'm saying.
But do you think she needs therapy? I think and I'm in all honesty, I really believe that she does have some issues. I mean,
well, she said she has abandonment issues,
right? And in this situation, literally in that segment, she went back and forth with herself, and wanting him to go, don't want him to go. Stay. No, you can go. Get in the car. Go. You don't need to go. She even brought his bags back. I mean, like.
And he's like, I'm just trying to leave.
Really?
Can I leave? Ryan, get in the car with him. And he's like, he's an adult. We're going to force him to stay and he wants to go. And then she gets upset because he did what she begged him to do.
Yeah, leave.
And you kept saying what she wants is for him to fight for her. Look, that's playing games.
It is.
And you don't, when he's trying to be the gentleman and say, I'm not going to leave you here by yourself after, and you insist, I don't need you.
In all actuality, you know that there are times when women don't want a gentleman.
True.
Okay. And I really believe that in this case, she just wanted him to kind of just stand up for himself and just kind of block her off. Look, I'm staying, and we came together. We'll leave together.
But you risk.
No, you can ignore
anything. You risk the guy doing exactly what Zach did, and that is
true.
Doing what she told him to do. Yeah, what she insisted that he do.
Yeah. And
then tried to uninsist that he do.
Well, yeah, she lost in that game.
Look, stop. If that's the kind of communication that y'all are into, stop it.
Okay, let me just say this. Marriage is not a game.
It is not a game.
So.
And this power control, this power struggle, this control struggle, this, Gil said, say what you mean and mean what you say.
True.
And that is what every couple needs to realize. If you're not used to doing that, then you need some training.
Yeah.
You need some counseling to help you with your communication skills. Mm. And many times, that's why our fights have been silent fights.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to say anything that we would regret later.
True.
We don't want to be uncivil.
True.
So it's easier to say nothing about the issue at that point and come to it when we have clear thought.
Right.
And to realize that everyone processes differently and at different speeds.
True.
I'm kind of more quick thinker. It's like I don't need a lot of time to process, and that can and I've had several people where that's like, okay, you're asking too many questions and you're not giving me the chance to think.
Me, on the other hand, I know, just like right now, I'm hesitating trying to say the right thing or saying a thing where it's understood properly. But I'm not going to respond. I'm not going to react to what I'm hearing, because what I'm hearing might be offensive or aggressive, and I feel that I feel myself becoming defensive. I feel that I need to protect myself. And I'm like, well, hold up. First off, this is my wife. She's not trying to hurt me. I may not like what she said. I may not like what she did. But again, for whatever reason she did what she did, said what she said, she had a reason behind it. So because I'm feeling a certain way because of what I heard or how I received or perceived the action or the words, let me just back up a second and, okay. And then come back and say, well, the way I received this was, it sounded like you were saying XYZ when it was ABC, but again, you're going to have to let me know in a fashion where, now that we're calm, what did you mean by that? And it could have been something totally different. I just heard it a certain way, so I'm not.
But he's a processor.
Yeah,
he needs the time to think it through.
Yeah, I couldn't be.
Even with questions,
I lose at debates.
Yeah, even at questions. So and that's his style.
Mm-hmm.
And my communication style is different, but we learn how to mesh them together or understand each other's style, so that you don't have the kind of situations that we saw tonight.
Yeah.
On several fronts. So
yeah, we're not toxic, but we don't allow whatever disagreements to escalate to a point of being volatile, even in our words.
But that's not even our personality types.
I mean, no, you can be upset at something or you can dislike something, but you don't let it take you out of character.
Yeah. And so, there you go. We thought we'd be shorter.
I know.
We weren't.
Hey.
But that's okay. Hopefully you got something out of that.
Hopefully.
And, I felt that it was interesting that Rachel and Jose, Rachel kind of looked at what happened between Michaela and Zach, and kind of, was a little nervous about
feeling a certain way.
Yeah,
I can imagine that interaction
would that happen to us?
That
with another blow up.
Because again, everybody's in the same predicament.
Right.
We've all been together for the exact same amount of time. And how is it that our relationship is so different than that relationship? And did something happen there that could potentially happen to us? And what was said, what was done, how was it received, and what caused it? Could it happen to us? Because again, they're thinking of, we all did this together. And why are we in a different place, or such a different place than they are? And is there anything that could cause us to end up reverting back to that, or whatever the case may be? But and that's honest.
Yeah, and I understand that.
Yeah, that's an honest feeling.
But that's when you have to focus on who you are and who your spouse is,
right?
As
your
individuals, your relationship, and how you all deal with each other.
And don't compare your relationship to anybody else's relationship.
Right.
There may be similarities, maybe differences, but you don't compare, is it better or worse, or why aren't we like that, or, whatever the case may be.
That gets you in trouble.
It does.
Yeah. So on that note, we're going to bring it to a close, and we appreciate you joining us. And we look forward to your comments. You know, we try to answer each and every one. And we thank you for watching. Share our channel, like our channel, and we look forward to talking with you next week. Until then, stay safe and peace.
Enjoy.